So the NFL draft is officially over, and there is no question that the Philadelphia Eagles did an incredible job, as we just witnessed a Howie Roseman masterclass in which the Eagles somehow managed to steal two of the top defensive players in this draft, and these guys should be able to come in right away and make an instant impact, while also being guys that can turn into stars in the future. Plus, on top of these home run picks, the Birds also snagged some really intriguing prospects in the later rounds that could wind up being impact players for the Eagles as well, and that includes the son of one former Birds legend. I mean, man, the Eagles really knocked this draft out of the park, so we're going to talk about all of it in this video today, and we won't waste any time. Let's get straight into it. So of course, we all know how the Eagles draft started out, as somehow the best corner in the draft in Quinyon Mitchell, who probably should have gone within the top 12 to 15, fell all the way to 22, where the Eagles were sitting waiting patiently for him, and they took advantage of the opportunity and snagged him, which honestly, the more time that goes by since this pick, the more I think that this is a perfect fit for both sides. I mean, the Eagles on one hand needed a talented young corner that could come in and play now, or also just develop behind Darius Slay and take over for him when his time is up, and Mitchell is a guy that fits that bill perfectly. I mean, he's a freak athlete with crazy speed and strength, and he's just locked down in coverage, whether it be zone or man, so he's definitely ready to play now if that's what the Eagles want him to do, or he could take more of a backseat in year one and just learn from the guy who we said he models his game after in Darius Slay. But whatever the Eagles want him to do in his rookie season, he's going to be ready to learn and go do what they ask him to do.
Yeah, my approach to my rookie year is just come in and do everything they ask me to do. Play hard, play physical, be a great teammate, and just work hard. And whatever they ask me to do, I just do it. Just want to model my game after Slay, and then really just want to come in and just soak everything up from them.
I really could not be more excited about Mitchell being an Eagle, because I do think that he's going to be able to come in and contribute right away. I do think there's a pretty decent chance that he plays a big role in this defense in his rookie season, and I think eventually over time he'll become a star at the cornerback position. But the Birds were not done adding defensive backs in the draft yet, as they were able to get yet another steal, this time with Howie Roseman trading up with the Commanders to get up to 40th overall in the second round, so they could select a guy who many thought the Eagles could get in the first round in Iowa's Cooper DeJean. And safe to say, both sides are really excited with how this turned out.
Cooper, it's Howie Roseman, brother. You're an Eagle. Let's go. You sat way too long. Yeah, we're excited to have you.
Listen, I didn't need this last night because this is what I wanted to have happen today. So how about that?
Going to Philly.
Proud of you, proud of you.
Couldn't ask for a better opportunity, better place to be. You know, throughout the whole draft process, this is the place that I love the most. You know, especially when I came on my visit here. Here it's super surreal. I still can't believe it. You know, but I'm excited to be here, excited to get to work.
Dude, I don't quite know how Howie keeps getting away with this, because not only was he able to get probably just the best pure corner in this draft class in the first round, but he somehow finds a way to also move back up in the second round and get arguably the best all-around secondary player in the class as well. Because when you talk about Cooper DeJean, I mean, this is a guy that can be moved all over the place on the back end. He can play outside, inside, or safety and be very, very effective in any of those spots. I mean, just last year in 2023, Jean was locked down, as in 388 coverage snaps, he allowed just a 37.8 passer rating when targeted. Plus, he has a nose for the football, as over the last 2 seasons, he had 7 interceptions, and he also tends to capitalize on those opportunities that he gets when he gets the football, as he returned 3 of those picks for touchdowns. Plus, on top of that, DeJean brings the element of physicality. He's not afraid to lay a big hit, and he's also just an absolute freak athlete with crazy potential, so I'm just really, really excited about this pick. I love his potential, I love his athleticism, I love his versatility, and I just love the value that they got for him. I mean, it's honestly unbelievable that they were able to get him in the second round, which is a sentiment that Howie Roseman echoed in his post-day 2 draft press conference.
He was a first-round player for us, and you know, Jeffrey said this tonight. You know, it's rare for us to be picking in the 20s and to get 2 first-round players, and you know, both those guys were first-round players for us, and you know, we didn't have 32 first-round guys, so you know, when you get that opportunity to get 2 first-round guys, especially picking where we were, we felt like it was an opportunity, and it was obviously an area that we wanted to address.
Yeah, Howie is actually a genius, because not only was he able to get Cooper DeJean in the second round, but he also traded up at the exact right time. Because literally right after DeJean got picked by the Birds, 3 other corners went off the board right after that. So just hats off to the best GM in football. He knew that was about to happen, and he went up, seized the opportunity, and made that trade to get up to number 40, and they picked the best guy on the board. And now DeJean comes into a defense where sure, he could be used in a variety of ways, and he could see action at a number of different positions. But whatever position the Birds ask him to play in his rookie year, he's going to be ready to do whatever.
They talked to me about all three positions. I don't have a preference. I'm a football player, so you put me on the field, I'm going to go play football. Whether it's inside, outside, at safety, wherever it is, this is a game I love to play. As long as I'm on the field, out there, I'll be happy, and I'm going to give it my all every time I step on the field.
Man, I just can't wait to watch this guy play. I think he's going to turn out to be an absolute steal. Now, I will say that if you look at the Eagles secondary right now, things seem to be getting a bit crowded, and you gotta wonder if James Bradbury's days in Philly are numbered at this point. But also, I'm just gonna reiterate that I am not upset at all with what the Eagles did early in this draft. I think they did an incredible job there. They obviously got two fantastic players in Mitchell and DeJean, and I think both are gonna become really, really, really good players for this Eagles defense in the future, and that's all you can really ask for them to do early in the draft. So I do think the Birds killed it here. But obviously, they weren't done. I mean, at this point, the draft still had 5 rounds left to go, and the Birds had a ton more picks. And after trading back a couple of times, the Eagles made their next selection in the 3rd round by selecting a very interesting prospect in Houston Christian edge rusher Jaylyx Hunt, which for some Eagles fans, that was kind of a head scratcher because I don't think he was on very many Philly fans' radars. However, he's apparently been on Howie Roseman's radar since around August, so the Birds have had their eye on this guy for a while, and the fact that he apparently was also one of Vic Fangio's favorite players in this entire draft was enough for the Eagles to pick him in the 3rd round. And I'll say this, if both Howie and Fangio were high on him, then I feel like they're probably onto something here. Now, Hunt is a guy who doesn't have a ton of experience playing the edge position. He actually transitioned from being a safety not too long ago, but that versatility is something that Vic Fangio is going to value very highly, as Hunt's going to be put into a scheme that has edge rushers dropping into coverage quite often, and he's very effective at doing that. Plus, on top of that, he was an effective pass rusher at Houston Christian, of course, not really playing against the best competition, but still, he totaled 13.5 sacks over the past 2 years, so that's definitely noteworthy, and Hunt is also a freak athlete with great speed and a great first step off the edge. I mean, he impressed at the Senior Bowl going up against other impressive players, and also at the Combine with a 40 time in the 4.6s and an impressive broad jump as well. And it's that athleticism and just his raw ability that makes him a guy with a lot of potential and someone who the Eagles want to develop. I mean, Howie Roseman made that point during his press conference, saying, quote, "He has freaky tools in his body. He can bend, he can close, he can finish, he's long, extremely smart kid coming from Cornell. We're going to develop him. We think we can really find something with him." So I can't wait to see how Hunt pans out in Philly over these next few years, and safe to say he's going to fit right in.
Jaylyx, what's going on, man? It's Howie.
What's up, Big Pimpin'?
We're going to pick you right here, brother. Welcome to Philly. We're excited to get you, man.
Let's go,
It's going to be fun.
Go enjoy this moment. I'll talk to you later. Can't wait to get you here. I got you. Hey, man. All right. Hey, Coach, I need the playbook ASAP. All right, we'll get it to you, man.
It was insane, man.
Now moving on here, the Eagles and Howie Roseman remained active early on day 3 of the draft as they made a couple trades back to acquire even more draft capital for the 2025 draft. In fact, the Birds acquired an additional 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounder in the 2025 draft just through trades that they've made during this draft, so that's pretty awesome. And then moving on for their next pick, the Eagles actually selected somebody on the offensive side of the ball in the 4th round as they took Clemson running back Will Shipley, and this is a nice solid pick for the Birds in my opinion because after this season, the only Eagles running back that's under contract is Saquon Barkley, so getting him for running back depth moving forward is nice for sure. And Shipley was also very, very productive at Clemson, putting up almost 2,500 total yards of offense over the past 2 seasons and also 22 touchdowns, and he also had 31 total touchdowns during his entire Clemson career. Plus, Shipley's also a guy who can be a dual threat back as he can catch the ball out of the backfield in addition to, of course, running it well, and his ability to run between the tackles and also shake defenders and just be elusive is very, very impressive. So all that is definitely very exciting. Now, on the other hand, Shipley is kind of small and also has issues with ball security, plus his breakaway speed is kind of limited, but overall, I do think he's going to be a nice depth addition to the backfield, and it sounds like Saquon Barkley is already taking him under his wing, as Shipley said that Saquon actually reached out to him quickly after he was drafted, so that's definitely cool. And just overall, what do you guys think about this pick by the Eagles? Now, next up for the Birds was wide receiver Ainias Smith from Texas A&M, who they picked with the 152nd overall pick, and this is a good selection in my opinion because the wide receiver 3 position position is a spot where the Eagles definitely need to find some stability at, and Smith is a candidate to come in and become the long-term solution at that spot. I mean, he's a good route runner, he's got good hands, he's got good run after the catch ability, and he showed plenty of ability throughout his career there. Now, he definitely has plenty of things to refine and work on, but so does every rookie coming in, and overall, I just like his potential and skill set, and I do think he can be a good addition to this Eagles team, and I'm looking forward to see if he can eventually become this team's wide receiver 3 of the future. But now moving on, the next guy that the Birds picked is someone that Eagles fans have been talking about for a long time, as the Birds, shortly after picking Smith, decided to trade the 164th pick and their 201st pick for the 155th overall pick in the 5th round, where they took the son of a former Eagles legend in Clemson's Jeremiah Trotter Jr. And this is exciting for a number of reasons. One, obviously, it's just awesome to get the son of Eagles legend Jeremiah Trotter, but also the Birds desperately needed a linebacker, and they finally got one, and a pretty good one at that, as Trotter Jr. was ranked as one of the best inside linebackers in this draft class, and even though he fell all the way to the 5th round, he still definitely has a ton of ability. I mean, he's really pretty good in coverage. That's actually really an underrated aspect of his game. He's probably one of the better coverage linebackers in this draft class, and in addition to that, he's also physical, he's not afraid to lay a big hit, and his presence is definitely felt out on that field. Plus, he's a good blitzer from the inside linebacker position, and he's just overall a playmaker that's going to get around the football. Now, that's not to say that he doesn't have his weaknesses. I mean, he's on the smaller side for one, and he also isn't particularly great against the run just yet, and he just has to refine his overall game, but he's a rookie, you know. I think he's going to develop over time, and I think he's definitely going to turn out to be a nice player for the Eagles one day. And I also think that he could probably compete for a legit role in this defense this season. Plus, they also got him for great value in the 5th round, and he's definitely going to have a chip on his shoulder because he fell that far. So again, I definitely really do like this pick. And then next up for the Eagles was Trevor Keegan, an offensive guard out of Michigan. And again, I think that this is another good pick because the Eagles definitely needed some depth on the offensive line. They lost some of that this year with, of course, Jason Kelce retiring and just losing some other backups. And this guy was ranked as a top 5 guard in this year's class. He's got good size, he's strong, he's got good fundamentals, and a high football IQ, and he also just won a national championship last year, and he was one of the leaders for that team. So I do think that this is a great addition, and now he's going to get to work with Jeff Stoutland, and who knows, maybe he can develop into something eventually. So again, overall, I think it's a very good depth addition. But now moving on, the Eagles' next pick came in the 6th round, and they got another guy who's going to fight to get reps at this team's wide receiver 3 spot, and just add depth at wide receiver in general, as they picked Florida State's Johnny Wilson. And this is a very interesting pick in my opinion, because Wilson is very unique because he stands at 6'7" while playing the wide receiver position. So getting him adds a guy that can be a down the field threat as a jump ball receiver, and also somebody that the Birds could utilize in the red zone, and also someone they can just throw a quick screen to, and then he can take advantage of his size and physicality and break tackles and get additional yards like that. So he really does have the potential to be a weapon for Kellen Moore's offense. Now personally, I thought Wilson was going to go much sooner in the draft than he did, like a lot of these other guys that they ended up getting in later rounds. So again, this is another one of those picks where I think the Eagles got great value, and I love the selection. And then finally, the Eagles ended off their draft in the 6th round by selecting another offensive lineman, this time from NC State, in Dylan McMahon. And I also like this pick as well because, again, it just adds more depth to the interior of the Eagles offensive line, which they definitely needed. And McMahon's a center, so he's going to come in and probably provide depth at that position most likely. And he's also a guy that's able to get out in space. He's got agility. So again, just purely as a depth addition, I like this pick as a late round guy. So that wraps up the Eagles 2024 draft class. And I gotta say, I think they absolutely killed it. I mean, they got some big time steals in my opinion throughout the entire draft. I think there's definitely some future NFL stars in there and just other solid role players. Plus, I also like the fact that they were able to acquire more draft capital for next season through some trades. So overall, again, I'm just super excited about what they did. But what do you guys think? You can let me know what you thought of the Eagles draft down in the comments, and also while you're at it, make sure you subscribe just so you don't miss any other Eagles content just like this. I'm going to be covering the rest of this entire Eagles offseason as well as heading into next season. So again, if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you subscribe, and also really importantly, turn on notifications. And also, while you're at it, make sure you drop a like to show some support. I greatly appreciate it. And if you want to watch another video going more in depth on the Eagles' first round pick and Quinyon Mitchell, as well as AJ Brown's extension, you can check this out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.